immediate question for you.
Yes, sir.
What would you do if your girlfriend, who you were about to propose to, informed you during their proposal that before she could say yes, that you needed to know that she used to practice a lot of gangbangs?
Holy shit. What constitutes a gangbang? How many guys is that? Or does it really even fucking matter?
Well, I would say two is not a gangbang.
Not a gangbang.
A threesome, right? Maybe more than two. So 3 or 4
to 10.
Any number that can pass her around.
Pass her around.
That's what I think of. And
sounds like a sticky situation.
Tell you what, I read this and I was like, and this was on Reddit, and so I just was kind of like,
did they have a picture of it?
No, I wondered too. But it's just funny because the guy that posted it, he's like, what should I do here? And everyone's like, well, if you're looking at her differently now, then it's probably going to affect the relationship.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, so he justified it apparently by saying, oh, well, yeah, I guess she just had fun in college. And everyone's like, that's not necessarily what everybody does in college. And, there was one guy that, he laughed. He's like, I'm getting my degree online. How do I get that? How do I get that package? How do I get the gangbang package?
Well, and I wonder, maybe that answers why she has so many guy friends now. I don't know. She just stays in touch. She's
on her social media is majority men. Oh. But if somebody told me that and I was going to propose, I don't know. I don't think I could do it.
Well,
what do you think?
I guess, and you said she was in college, so it's like, did you say how old she is now?
I don't.
Did she just graduate college?
Right.
So it's like.
So last week.
I had my last one last week. So now, to get over this.
But you know what? I got it out of my system. And I'm ready to move forward.
Yeah.
I just think that one gangbang is a lot, much less multiple
gangbangs.
Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to know what you would do. What do you think? No?
I don't know. That'd be tough.
Would you take the ring back?
I don't know. Depends on what all she learned
I love
during
the music right there. The music came in like while you're making a decision. It's like some fucking robot.
Yeah. I guess it depends on did she learn any awesome skills during these games?
You're going to need to prove to me that this was worth it.
Right.
That's what you're going with.
Yeah. So I'm just sitting here imagining a scenario. You're intimate with her. Maybe you're in her mouth. She's got a toy over here, a toy over here. Is she also kind of trying to remake this whole gangbang with just you?
So you're willing to negotiate.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's got the whole Toy Story, grouping around her. I don't know. So.
I think I'd pull that ring right back.
Yeah.
I just think that.
No more ring.
I don't know. I think this physical thing, I have an issue with it. I don't know why.
You're a little anal about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah. So I just thought I wanted to know your answer, and I don't think I really got one.
That's a tough one.
I think I got. I'm willing to consider, depending on this and that.
Yeah.
And that's not an answer, but okay. For all of you listening or watching, think about it yourself.
Yeah.
If your soon-to-be fiance has do
your own research.
Research.
Is that what we always say?
Yeah, I mean, and it could happen the other way. I suppose a guy could tell a girl, hey, I used to just go out and bang everybody all at once. But I don't know. Is that a double standard?
Oh.
Because if a girl's with like 5 dudes. She's getting gangbanged, but if a guy's with 5 women, it's like he's a stud.
Fucking god.
Right. I mean,
imagine. I mean, we told a story about the African man that died after 5 women.
Yeah, he didn't make it past 4. Good for him. Rest in peace.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I don't know how
okay,
to
all right.
handle that.
Move on.
Move on.
Move on. I thought you might. Maybe you can reflect, and then we'll talk.
Gotcha. Let me ask you this, and the gunshot on the fucking song always gets me going. It's pretty funny. But have you ever had a prostate exam?
I think we've talked about this too. I don't think I've had one that I was prepared for.
Gotcha.
I think
it was a surprise.
The one that happened was. Yeah, it just was happening. All of a sudden, it was just happening.
Same with me.
There were no candles or anything.
This gentleman, a man, shot his male doctor after the doctor made him come during a prostate exam.
This can't be.
Can you imagine that shit?
Oh my God. You can't. This can't be real. First off.
And the comments are priceless. But
I bet. Oh, no. Give me some comments.
So this is Josh Wolf, who's a comedian.
Yeah, you like Josh Wolf.
I do.
You've brought up some of his stuff. I hope he doesn't sue us.
So he's like an oldie but a goodie, but shooting? He said, shouldn't he have just made another appointment? So it seems to have worked. I mean, at least take the doc out to dinner for some pointers.
Right.
Said he's getting a physical and an orgasm for no extra charge. Said if I was a doctor, I might even put that on the website.
Yeah, but a little video on the bottom.
So, of course, some of the comments, did he shoot him with a bullet or his load? Just curious.
Oh no. That one seemed too obvious. I'm disappointed. I didn't think of that.
So yeah, why are you going to get mad about a freebie? Said the gentleman had to ask for a procedure and only shot the doctor after insurance refused to reimburse the copay fee.
That's pretty funny.
Said that happened to me twice now. Worst vet I've ever taken my dog to. And of course, the last comment. Okay. Only thing missing is Florida man. So
right, you like that. You were ready for that last comment. I think my question immediately is, was it simply because this guy was just embarrassed that another man made him finish?
I would have to assume so.
But did he have the gun? I mean, he's naked there. Did he go to his car, get the gun, and come back?
It didn't say.
Or was it in his pants? Or like, why don't you get dressed and meet me in the wedding room?
Yeah. And I would have to assume he came back and shot him. But yeah.
It still makes no sense. I mean,
I'm kind of curious how that works.
Yeah.
Because I've read that is the man's G-spot.
I've heard. So, I've heard.
I've heard. I mean, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I've tried it. Not myself, but yeah. And
yourself.
It's very it's very intense.
Yeah, I haven't. I honestly haven't. I'm not just saying that.
Yeah.
But I've heard that there's a certain men have a spot equal to the women's G spot.
Yeah.
And that's where it happens to be.
What was that movie we saw with Sean? Was it Sean Michael Scott?
I know. Anyway. Road Trip.
Yeah.
And he asked the nurse for some help donating. He was donating
did the same
sperm.
thing to him.
And she put on her glove.
Well, jealous it happened very quick for him on that movie. It hasn't happened quick for me.
The noises he made when it was happening were classic.
Priceless. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? Doctors who are giving prostate exams, try not to be too gentle, I guess. I mean,
Oh, I'm scheduling mine next week. So,
I was going to say you can't schedule it with this guy anymore.
Damn it! Oh yeah, that's true. He's gone. Maybe he's got an understudy or
who learned his technique.
Somebody that, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Here at Stay in the Grave podcast, the opening headlines we give you are that's what you would call priceless. And this isn't going to get any
better,
any less ridiculous.
Oh, gotcha. I got to pull up my story too.
When you think of an emotional support animal, what do you think of?
Probably a dog.
A dog.
Yeah.
On the plains, a little dog. Or I oftentimes think of golden retrievers.
Right.
I feel like I see a lot of those support dogs. And what I think are legitimate support dogs are the ones that are helping the blind or helping whatever. This whole emotional support dog thing or support animal thing.
I see it a lot with the military and stuff like that.
No, that's true. But that's different. I'm talking about these douches that just like claim they need it and so they can get them on the plane.
Right.
Maybe. Or I mean, do you really need you get a teddy bear? Didn't we talk about that? There's a restaurant,
Japan or something. Yeah,
it's a Japanese restaurant,
animals.
and they sat across and they had a nice conversation
big
over
stuffed
dinner.
animal.
Right. Well, there was a man in Philadelphia. And so for me, go figure, because of the Pittsburgh-Philadelphia city rivalry that I have, there's a gentleman that went to a Phillies game, baseball, right?
Okay.
And he attempted to bring an emotional support alligator.
What the fuck? Are you serious? An alligator
into the stadium
with a straight face?
This alligator is named Wally.
Wally. Okay.
Yeah, this is a straight face. I mean, I'm laughing because it's so stupid, but so his name is Wally, and what makes it even more. So I said that I had the same reaction. I'm like, that's so stupid. Wally has 114,000 TikTok followers.
Holy shit.
27,000 Instagram, so he needs to pick that shit up. I didn't get the others. And he is 6 feet long.
Oh, that's big.
No, not for an alligator.
Oh,
That's a mid-size, nose to tail.
6 foot.
He's only 55 pounds, so you could probably curl Wally.
Does he still have teeth?
But he's still an alligator.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you look at the picture, and I still wouldn't mess with this dude. I mean, I would be a little bit less frightened of this alligator walking down the street than a 10-footer in the Australian outback.
Yeah.
I'd probably worry a little less, but he's still an alligator. And so he tried to go in through the gate.
Well, of course, yeah.
Apparently, this is the part where it kind of made more sense. He was invited to actually meet the players because of his fame and social media. And they said, let's get him. It'll be like a promo. We can take a picture with him and all this stuff. So instead of going where they told him to go, they were already in warm-ups and he was late. So he tried to go to the front.
Makes sense, yeah. Alligators take a while to get ready.
They had to put on their leather crocodile shoes.
His Lacoste shirt.
Yeah, his Lacoste shirt. God. Lacoste is going to have to start advertising on this show. So,
please tell me he has a leash on in the picture.
There's a leash. Okay. That makes it funnier in my opinion. So it's like a full harness leash, like you'd find on a dog. A full
harness leash.
And he's just like walking with his. And then there's a picture of him actually lower, which I'll show you later, where he's actually giving him a hug, and he claims that Wally enjoys embracement.
Well, of course, yeah.
He enjoys the hugs, and he will hug children.
God damn.
I tell you
this
what.
Is Philadelphia, yeah.
I tell you what, my kids wouldn't. No. You don't even have kids, and your kids aren't going anywhere near this fucking. No, it's an alligator.
We're not hugging Wally.
It's an alligator.
Fuck that.
And they asked him, they go, well, does Wally bite? And he goes, well, it's an alligator, so yeah. He'll bite, but he usually doesn't. It doesn't make me feel any better.
It doesn't happen often.
So they invited him, and he was left. So he tried to go to the front gate, like where the turnstile or whatever goes through, and give the ticket. And can you imagine being that person? I mean, we thought that the gun in the fat flaps was awkward at the White Sox game. Can you imagine this person I'm sorry, sir, you can't bring your alligator.
Yeah. I was invited, though,
Yeah, we're guests of the team.
Can you imagine waiting in line to go in and you feel a little nudge and you look down, there's a fucking 6-foot alligator at your feet?
Or just being behind him. How far do I stand back?
Yeah, I'm going home. I mean, if somebody is walking around the fucking alligator south of the streets, I'm going home.
I just couldn't not tell you this story.
And we've been to games before. How many fucking cops did he pass by with this alligator?
I don't know.
And nobody stopped him?
The best quote, though, he goes, I don't go anywhere in my life where Wally is not invited.
Okay.
He said sometimes there are issues at restaurants and other places.
You would think, yeah.
So good for Wally. I might have to check his TikTok out.
Stand your ground, Wally.
I just want to see what his TikTok videos are like. What is he like?
On dancing, a skateboard,
dancing and shit. I don't get it. So
I can assume this guy is single.
Yeah, I guess so.
Wow.
They didn't talk about his love life.
You think?
Yeah. But he did say this, and this is what I'll end the story on. Because there's only so much you can say about an alligator that tried to get into a baseball game.
Oh, I'm sure there's more.
This actually bothered me. He said, and it was like a quote. He said, I love Wally as much as I do my kids.
Wow. Okay, so he's got kids then.
So he's got kids. So somebody had to bang him at some point, or unless he adopted him. But to me, I'm going, all right, dude, that's a little far. And I wasn't going to say that part because to me, it kind of gets serious. I'm like, dude, this guy's got problems.
Yeah.
This alligator, you're telling me if your son was standing next to alligator and somebody said you got to choose one that you'd have a hard time, you're going to have difficulty?
I wonder if his kid's name is like Stumpy or something.
Stump.
Lefty?
Yeah, lefty, yeah. Yeah, don't wave at somebody. They may not have a hand. Look what I got.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so that's that story. Wally, the emotional support alligator.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I can't believe I just.
Wow.
Look, the stories tonight. Anybody watching, I hope you're enjoying them. But
Mark that
I promise.
one off the list.
I promise we have something of substance at some point. But hope you're enjoying these.
Right. Wow. As you would say, take me away from this.
Oh yeah, take me away from this. I'm going to take you away from this.
Take me away from this.
Have I mentioned our segue abilities on the show?
Do we have that?
Yes.
Sometimes we do.
I'm going to shift gears right now and talk about something that just it has me. I don't know how to put it. I got emotional when I read the story, and I don't know why.
This is another orca story.
It's about the orcas. We'll get to the orcas at some point because they're doing some stuff. Not now. Right now.
Okay.
Not right now. There's a gentleman by the name of Matt Ganyard.
Okay.
He is the kicker, or he is a kicker. I think every college has like 4 of them on the roster for the University of Virginia. So this guy is the kicker. He is 34 years old.
Nice.
He's a father of 2. He got his first degree from Virginia in 2011. And then he went and served in the Marine Corps.
Oh, very cool.
As a helicopter pilot for 10 years.
Wow.
And he played soccer for Virginia, but he said he always dreamed of being a place kicker in football. So he had the ability to kick, but he never played in a football game in his life.
Yeah.
So apparently, he tried out for the University of Virginia football team before, like his senior year of his undergraduate. So back in 2010, 2011.
Gotcha.
And they were actually decent back then. Now poor guy.
Not so much.
And it's been pretty bad. I think they're like 0-5 and getting killed.
Ouch.
But he got a rejection letter from the team that said, sorry, you didn't make the team.
Okay.
And one of his, I don't know what you call them, military people, Marine people, like, yell at me all you want. The squad roommate, bunkmate.
Squad roommates.
No, squad. What do you call it?
I don't know.
You're a group of military people together. A squadron?
Sure.
An outfit?
His buddies?
I think something's called
Cult?
an outfit too. Cult.
No?
But anyway, his bunkmate, every night they would use the same plug, and he would stay above him in the bunk, and then the bottom bunk, and they had one outlet, and so he would go down, unplug this gentleman Matt his iPad, and then as soon as he would go to do that, the iPad would light up, and on the screensaver was the rejection letter from UVA.
He kept it on there.
He kept it on there as a reminder.
Wow.
And to motivate him. So all these people in his squad /
room,
whatever, all his friends.
There we go.
Were all everywhere he went, and he was all over the place. I mean, he was in Jordan, in the Middle East. He was, I think, he was in Eastern Europe. He was all over the place. And wherever he was, he would go out whenever he had a break and kick footballs.
Okay.
He'd line him up and he would just kick him. And he got to the point where he motivated his, God damn it, squadron or whatever. We're going to call it a squadron.
Group of other Marines.
Group of other Marines. There you go. I have a really good Marine friend up north, and maybe
he's going to bust your balls for this.
Or I'll ask him so in the future I know. I prepare myself. His friends in the Marines were so motivated by this guy. Remember, this guy's 30. Yeah, he was in his 30s, his late 20s at the time when he was, and they would go like chase the balls down and give them back for him and stuff. So he'd kick them and they'd work out. They'd go run and get them and come back. And and he would use most of the places had soccer, football, a goal post, but not American football.
Right.
So he would use just the center but wherever he was, that's what he would do on his breaks. Most people read whatever. He'd go kick footballs.
Nice.
And so he gets back, and of course everybody sees where the story's going. He comes back and he
I'm already crying.
Yeah, he goes to business school at Virginia again and tries out for the team and makes the team.
Makes the team. Nice.
As a 34-year-old.
As a publicity stunt?
Maybe UVA needs it this year. I don't know. But he makes the team, and it was the reaction of his Marine friends that got me when some of them were kind of being quoted, and I watched some of the actual video interviews, and they were teared up.
Very cool. Yeah.
That this guy and all he's ever been is just this respectful guy, and he's on a kickoff. He'll do kickoffs. He hasn't kicked field goals yet. And I went and looked at every game.
You're gonna wait till he's 40 to kick field goals.
You gotta put in your time.
Yeah.
And so
he's redshirting right now.
I went and looked at all the scores. I went and looked at all the scores of their games and looked to see like who kicked the field goals and extra points, and none of them were him. But I read that, I saw some videos of him doing the kickoff, and of course everybody at UVA in the stands were all, It reminded me of the whole Rudy story, and just like this feel good story. And this guy's a good looking guy. His wife's super hot.
Yeah.
He's just.
Bet he could destroy somebody on a tackle too if he's a.
Yeah. Well, he was right down the one clip I saw. He was right there ready. If they hadn't tackled him, he was going to take him down. But so it just people like this are so inspiring.
Yeah.
So I got not upset. I got emotional about it, and I started listening. I'm like, I got to tell this story. So anybody that hasn't heard the story, I'm going to cheer for UVA. I don't know about anybody else unless they play the Ags.
How many years of eligibility does he have?
He has all 4 years if he wants them.
Oh, wow.
But he's in graduate school, so I mean he won't be there for 4 years. But I think he just wanted to be on. I think they asked him, when do you feel you're gonna kick field goals, and he goes, I'm gonna be ready when called upon. They give all the right answers, but it was more about being on a team and like making the team. And just the fact that something he was unable to do, he reminded himself like every day on his iPad. I've got a picture. They joked. They said now he's got a picture of his kids, but and that's what a lot of people that have young kids or old kids have pictures of, or dogs, and he had a rejection letter on his, and it motivated him. So, but then to make this about myself, I started feeling like a piece of shit. I was like. These guys.
You gotta start kicking field goals.
Yeah. Like, I really want to. I'm going to be the 45-year-old kicker for somebody.
Yes.
But I started thinking, I'm like, man, people do this, and I've done stuff. I mean, I'm fortunate in life. I've done a lot, and I've got 2 beautiful kids. And I've been married. And I've been traveled, and I've done stuff. But like stories like this, it's like, man, it makes you feel good, but then it makes you feel like, who cares about me? Like no one's on a podcast talking about me and my kid who rammed his head into the wall tonight. And, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Came and gave me nuggets when I came through the door.
Yeah. We'll see. Maybe we'll do something special, Trey. But that was a good story. I wanted people to hear it. There's not really a discussion about it. I just wanted you to know and people to hear it because they don't talk about it enough. I mean, they probably did it on like College Game Day one weekend or something.
Right.
But this guy's pretty special. Go read his story. There's more to it, obviously, in detail when he was deployed, some close calls as a helicopter pilot.
I can imagine, yeah.
And this guy could very well not be here today, and not only not fulfill his dream, but not be alive. And
so we had a boring airline pilot on ours. We should have got a former Marine that's now a collegiate kicker.
Yeah, the last show he had he just flies the airline.
Commercial, yeah, that's boring.
Yeah, we need to ask this guy what duct tape on the.
Yeah. I bet he doesn't use duct tape on his.
Yeah, these helicopters don't have duct tape or Gorilla Glue.
Or Gorilla Glue.
Shit. So
poor Tom. I mean Tim.
We love Timmy, and I had a blast with Tim.
Yeah.
He was very low key for what he's been as long as I've known him,
right?
Which is a long time. But the cameras can do that to you.
He added 10 pounds to him.
Yeah. I sure hope that's not true, for my sake. But he had a good time, and we're getting all these comments on YouTube and these clips that I'm putting on because I keep forgetting that a lot of people don't realize that we're all close.
Yeah,
and that people are like, well, they had this airline pilot on, and they're just giving him shit the whole time. And
well, absolutely,
it's like maybe I should have prefaced this clip with our good friend and airline pilot.
There you go.
But but he's a good sport. And they all are. Antoine was a good when he was in here. Everybody's been a good sport because we don't tread lightly. We tend to give people shit, right?
Right.
So that was the Matt Ganyard story. So look him up. Cheer on the Virginia Cavaliers this year in college ball, and go Cavaliers. Right?
Sure. Yeah.
Matt Ganyard. Well, would it be funny if he actually somehow is like, you could check it out, this podcast did a bit on you, and then you're like, yeah, who gives a shit?
Let's hope they have a lot of stalled drives so they can kick plenty of field goals.
Yeah, well, apparently this other asshole's really good. It's like their starter, and the coach is like, I'm sorry, dude. Like,
but he's not a former Marine.
No, he's not. But I think
still in his 20s.
I think he's kicked like 850 plus this year.
Wow.
Like, I think he's legit. And anyway, but that
Good
was
for
that.
him.
All right, so let's get real serious here. I don't have all of the details on this,
Which is how we roll.
I have enough. Did you know that tomorrow, October the 4th,
Okay.
between 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock Central Standard Time, because that's all that matters,
right?
Texas, there apparently is going to be the beginning of a zombie apocalypse.
No shit.
What if I told you that?
That's kind of crazy.
Would you think back to the episode where you and I talked about how we would survive in a zombie apocalypse? Because all of a sudden this may happen.
I'll spend the night tonight.
We talked that we were not going to be roommates because you and I disagreed on going up to the second floor and throwing the ladder down. Because you said, well, how are we going to get down? And I said, well, I'm not worried about that at the moment.
We have to carry the ladder back up there, though.
That was my point. That's not my concern. My concern are the zombies that are coming.
Gotcha. Because they don't know how to climb stairs.
But we'll be neighbors. So this is, and if you want to use this to, I guess, I'll use this as an example of how I'm not only all over the left when they are crazy.
Is this a political thing?
No, I mean, no. I'll just get to it. How about that?
Go ahead.
It tends to be more of a right wing thing because it's about the COVID vaccines.
Got it.
And what they're saying, and I say there are a lot of sources and a lot of government medical links that are given here for like government whatever they're called. I know. Look, my terminology is not great. Okay, I don't. With coming government shit,
marine bunkmates.
It's government shit and marine bunkmates. Okay, so what they're saying, Trey.
Who's they?
And apparently, it's whistleblowers.
Okay. In
the government. What these whistleblowers are saying is what's called a Marburg epidemic. And it's being paid for, by the way, by tax dollars from the left.
Gotcha.
The current administration. So it is political, and I'm giving the right side a hard time right now. So all of you can fuck off.
These are not the pudding eaters.
These are not the pudding eaters. These are the conspiracy theorists.
Okay.
And so what they're saying is, I'm not going to give the exact. Again, we don't do that here. Because it's very like, I don't understand any of the words.
Okay, that makes sense. You're not going to try like I do?
I should. What they're saying is that in one of the vaccines, it's called the Pfizer vaccine, PFIZ. There's a silent P.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I had that one initially. Yes.
You did? Okay.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
So maybe I'm not spending the night, am I?
Fuck no, you're not.
Fuck no.
If my wife,
as long as you're gone by one.
Look, we won't talk much about this, but I'm not going to throw her under the bus. But my wife, kind of about these vaccines.
Gotcha.
She thinks this could happen, and it's only because she's a mom now,
Yeah.
and I think she's got this cleanse that she's doing, and she's overly emotional, and she goes, "I think I'm going to go pick up our boy from school early,
wow,
in case the teachers have their cell phones on." I'm like, all right, babe.
So there's cell phones.
Well, 5. Okay, we didn't get there yet.
You didn't get there yet?
I apologize. No, because that was my fault. So, what they're saying is in this Pfizer whatever, it deletes what's called a 1P, as in Paul, 1P36 gene, and that gene is combined with 5G, whatever you want to call it. Again, terminology. 5G surrounding you.
Right.
I'm gonna call it like sound waves, or but you would have to say 5G around you. If you don't have that gene.
Okay.
It can give you zombie-like characteristics,
Holy shit.
including aggressiveness, of course,
Okay.
with a propensity to bite. So I don't know why those are the only two quote unquote side effects of this whole thing tomorrow.
That's around lunchtime, and
Right? But can you just imagine looking outside and people walking around just going and biting?
holy shit,
But
that freaks me out.
and so my question is, why would they do this? Who's doing it? What would benefit anybody? Because I mean, if it's not going to kill them, you're not like thinning the herd. You're actually just making people want to bite things. So this is supposed to happen tomorrow.
So are they saying the people that made this vaccine had this intention?
No,
Or
no. They're saying
it
that
was just
they're saying
accidental?
people found out that this is what the vaccine does, and now they're using it to their advantage for a power role. They're saying that people high up in the world, select few, are saying, again, is it about thinning the herd? Is it about whatever? I have to be careful because of my wife, because it's so stupid.
To be careful.
Isn't this just stupid?
This is wild. This is I haven't heard this anywhere though. This was crazy.
I
would assume this would have been all over social media.
well, it's all over X,
Okay.
aka formerly Twitter, and it's and again, there's links given to government websites. It's not like this is just. And the links don't go, and the government's not saying that this is what's going to happen. The government's just verifying some of the, if you want to call them side effects, some of the what happens when you take these vaccines, and that indeed that gene might go
Did they
away.
get these facts
whatever.
off of movies they've seen, or what?
It may be. So I just wanted to bring that up. That right now there is a belief that tomorrow there is a backup date.
There's a backup date.
In case something doesn't happen.
In case they're wrong about this?
It's October the 11th, so it's a
just
week
right around the corner.
A week later.
Gotcha.
It's 1 week later. So if it doesn't happen tomorrow, we're not in the clear.
Now, is this a recent vaccine or one of the original vaccines?
This is
Does it say?
it just says the Pfizer. Is that original?
Well, I had the Pfizer vaccine in my first couple ones.
So
were Pfizer.
that must be it then. Anybody that's had that.
Oh shit.
So Trey, if you text me and it's a bunch of mumbo jumbo, depending on how it's spelled.
How do you spell that?
Yeah. I'm gonna assume that you have in fact turned into a zombie and you were not allowed.
You're not going to answer me?
No. Well, I'll answer you.
LOL.
You want with some sort of funny GIF
Meme,
or whatever. Yeah,
GIF,
meme,
GIF,
yeah,
whatever the
yeah,
fuck that
whatever
is.
it's called. Yeah, with the Zombie Land picture. Is this you?
Are you this one?
Yeah, are you this one? We need the manual. You pulled out a manual last time we talked about zombies that had like the 10 rules of zombie.
Yeah,
and
to stay safe.
to stay safe. And I'm going to go ahead and pull that out in case you turn.
Yeah, good call.
It no longer needs to be about our survival. It's now about my survival because you took the Pfizer.
Pfizer? The Pfeiffer.
I keep looking. The Pfeiffer, whatever.
Isn't that a mouse?
Yeah. So zombie apocalypse happening
1 to 4 tomorrow. And if I make it through that one, it's a possibility on the 11th.
Yeah. So if you make it through tomorrow, you're good for at least a week, and then we can readdress the situation.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Or maybe on next week's show. Next week's show, we'll be in the same situation. If it doesn't happen tomorrow.
If it didn't happen tomorrow. Got it.
If my little kid doesn't turn into a zombie because my wife doesn't pick him up from school early,
Yeah.
I'll be available to continue doing the show.
Sweet. Okay.
If my kids turn into zombies, then I may have to
Reschedule?
we'll just reschedule. Maybe check out the calendar for next month.
Right.
So, take me from that. We don't need to talk about zombies anymore.
No?
No.
So I've got a little story here that popped up today. It was kind of interesting. And so basically it's a former Dodger pitcher named Trevor Bauer. And so he was in the news, and I was trying to figure out when all this started. But basically, he was in
Trevor
the news.
Bauer. I've heard. I mean, he was like a badass pitcher.
Yeah, he was a stud pitcher.
Yeah.
Major leagues. Played for the Dodgers.
I didn't know he was a Dodger, but anyway, go ahead.
So and maybe he was a Dodger at this point. But yeah, so basically he came out with a video. So what happened is a few years ago, a woman came out saying that he allegedly beat her during a sexual encounter.
Oh,
Supposedly had pictures, bruises, scratches, all kinds of stuff like this. He came back out and said, well, no, this was something that she wanted. She wanted it rough. So I guess
take it a little too far, maybe.
So that was his thing, apparently, was that he liked rough sex and that these women consented to rough sex with him. And so this particular woman, caused this drama. Anyway, so because of all these allegations, the Major League Baseball basically got rid of him.
Oh wow!
Dodgers dropped him.
So the entirety of the league can do that. Can
rid of
like
you.
blacklist you.
Well, with all
I
this,
thought it was just team by team.
well, and technically, yeah.
But I guess the whole
they
league's
don't
like-
want that publicity and you're hiring a woman beater,
Sure.
type stuff. So anyway,
What if his ERA is like under 2?
right? You're making a playoff push.
Yeah.
So
We'll take the wife beater for 2 weeks until
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess recently they did come to some type of an agreement. So they're talking about all these different things. He was suspended at one point for 2 seasons for violating MLB's sex assault, domestic, and violent policy.
Because of the same incident.
Because of
you're
this
talking
woman.
about this. Okay.
At one point, he was
2 seasons. So this is a while ago.
I guess they were talking about him facing criminal charges and assault investigation. So this was a big ordeal. And so ultimately, they finally came out, some kind of an agreement. He's playing baseball in Japan and stuff like this. But
Ooh, I bet he dominates over there.
right. So finally, he came out with this video and talking. I guess there's information he finally could divulge from the lawsuit and stuff like this. But this woman, her name Lindsay Hill. So Bauer actually sued this woman for defamation, accusing her of falsely claiming that he had beaten and sexually abused her. Which all these allegations led to his suspension from Major League Baseball, derailed his career. And of course, she countersued him, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, he released a video message sharing his side of the story after the legal battle that spanned over 2 years. And so it basically released a bunch of text messages that she had sent to friends and people in her inner circle and stuff like this. And so one of the text messages said, next victim. So this was to her friend. Next victim, star pitcher for the Dodgers. A text that says that she sent to a friend before she even met him. Trevor Bauer explained, said she basically reached out to her friend and says, I'm going over to his house. What should I steal?
Wow.
And so basically referencing to the first time she was going to visit. And then says the answer, take his money. So how might that work, she said. I'm going to his house on Wednesday, she said. I already have my hooks in. You know how I roll. Then after the first time we met, net worth is $51 million, she said. Bitch, you better secure the bag, was a response. So,
Sorry, the way you're reading it is.
yeah, sorry.
Bitch, you better reserve the bag.
So her friend was like, how are you going to do that? And she says, need daddy to choke me out, she said. Being an absolute whore to try to get in on his 51 million, read another text.
Okay. That's what she... Okay. So she's trying to claim she's got the shit beat out of her from him or that he abused her sexually. I don't know if she's gone as far as rape, but in order
I don't think there was a rape allegation, but the fact that there was
sexual abuse
went too far on the rough sex.
Right. Well, I think that would be assault. I think they'd say a sexual assault, and she gets some of that $51 million that he's worth.
And so then it says, then after the second time we met, former Padres pitcher Jacob Nix told her, you got to get this bag. I'll give you $50,000. Lindsay replied. Her sponsor, her AA sponsor, even asked her at one point, do you feel a tiny bit guilty? And to her response, not really. So says since then, her legal team has approached with multiple times about coming to a financial settlement, but as I've done since day one, I refused to pay her even a single cent. said Lindsay Hill claims that were heard in court during those legal proceedings. So basically, what he came out with is a bunch of proof that basically her whole agenda the whole time was to take him for money. And so I guess there was even a video from the next night or the next morning where they got up, made breakfast. There was no marks on her, no bruises, no nothing. So it's like, okay, did she go do this to herself to kind of influence this? And so it makes you wonder, how, why is it that in these types of scenarios, they always say the legal system, you're always innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
But in this particular instance, I mean, Major League Baseball suspended him based on the word of this woman that has now come out. All she was after was his money. So why are we so quick? Is it because, and I'm assuming it's because of past scenarios where videos have come out where athletes have hit other women and stuff like this. But it made me curious, why are we jumping on to the word of women when it comes to this type of matter?
That's a good question because this happens a lot. I mean, just accusations and whether they're dropped because, some people think that it's because of who it is that they get special treatment, that whole thing.
Right.
My question is why wasn't he able to produce some of these things a little earlier? I guess it came from, who stepped up and said, hey, here, I've got all these texts. And why didn't he say, here are my texts? Unless
2 years ago.
2 years ago. But how'd they find him? I mean, somebody had him at some point in order to provide them now.
So why is that? Yeah, why is it all coming out now?
So that's what I mean. And so that's my only thing about Bauer is like, all right, dude, well, where was all this? And why was this not done? I mean, you could have saved. My second question is, now that it's been proven, I'm assuming it's been proven legally and not just on social media. Will the league let him back? I mean, will the league welcome him back? Will a team say, this guy's innocent? If it's Trevor Bauer, let's get him on our squad and get him in the rotation.
Right.
Is he bitter? Would he willing? I mean, I'm sure money talks, but is there another woman waiting to take the new contract?
But on the other hand, I'm kind of curious that did the Dodgers move so quickly because maybe there was another instance of something happening that maybe didn't go public? Maybe they knew this was kind of his character?
Yeah.
Somebody told me earlier, where there's smoke, there's fire. So
yeah, I mean, you're right. You and I don't, unless you haven't told me, but you and I don't know Trevor Bauer personally. No, it's Trevor, right? Trevor, yes. Trevor Bauer personally, and so maybe he has that kind of, this is going to be a thing. We need to just go ahead and let this guy go. But you're telling me that he was almost forced over to Japan because of nobody wanted him because of this.
And he's. I mean, the story says he said from day one he's never done anything like this. This is all basically bogus, and so he's always been very adamant about this, that this wasn't him.
What adamant that he did? He's been adamant that he doesn't beat women.
Yeah, this was just a consensual.
Good consensual beating.
But it makes you wonder. It's like, obviously, I don't make millions of dollars, so I'm not worried about a woman going after my money and doing some crazy shit like this. But it's like, do you have to videotape this the whole time? Do you have to sign a consent form that you're what links do you go through? Yeah,
I mean, we may chuckle at that, but
to protect yourself,
I mean, you may have to do that. I mean, if you have that much money, you may have to say, God, how awkward is that? Like, it's heat of the moment. You bring her home. Things are getting hot, heavy, and you're like, hold on, here's a pen. You can use my bag.
Right.
Or something else.
Maybe a little sticky back there.
Yeah.
But also, on the other hand, does this woman realize, how jacked up it's going to be for other women that actually do get assaulted?
Oh, of course.
Imagine the proof that they have to go through when shit like this comes out.
Well, right now, and I don't mean to interrupt you. It's been a while since I've said that, so I'll say it tonight. I apologize for interrupting, but I feel like you and I both interrupted Tim 8 million times, by the way.
Poor guy.
I know, but I meant to say it on the show. We apologize for interrupting Timmy. But I'm going to interrupt and just say that I feel like the amount of women who actually have this happen to them, and this isn't going to probably be very popular, is very low.
You hope.
Right. You would hope based on the amount of claims.
Yeah.
I know it happens. I'm sure. Of course it does. And there have been ones that have been proven easily.
Yeah.
And you would think that if the ones that are true would be able to be proven easily. And so there are some that you think of in the past, Ray Rice. And I won't give a lot of sports athletes' names because people listening might not be sports fans, but there are plenty out there.
Right. Celebrities now. I mean, there's tons of celebrities coming out getting.
God. That all came out kind of at the same time. It was
Right.
almost like it opened the floodgate and everybody. Right. But how many people are going, ooh, here's an opportunity.
Here's a money grab.
I slept with so-and-so. I can claim that this person did this, this, and this, and I can make a little dough. And I think that's the problem. Is that now everybody almost, you're sitting here saying that it should be innocent until proven guilty, but no, I think it's almost kind of like, you're just innocent because it's almost like the girl, like you just said, if somebody really had it happen to them, everyone's going to be like, yeah, right. You're just trying to get some money, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
The one girl that's actually raped, that's actually some piece of shit celebrity. And we all love,
but she's just
actually does it.
Yeah.
No. The one that's not.
Right. But everybody's going to
claim that she.
Yeah.
Of course they are. Because who's this? Who's this bartender?
Yeah.
I mean, a celebrity should be allowed to be like anybody else and sleep with a bartender.
Right.
Or go to the lifestyle clubs.
Right.
or wherever you might choose a lovely woman. And they should be allowed to live like normal people.
Right. Do the same freaking shit.
Why is it? So it's do the same crazy dumbass stuff that everybody else does. So why is this woman all of a sudden going to be like, shut up? You're just because she's lesser in stature?
Yeah. Well, and it's a lot of these scenarios are a lot of he said, she said, unless there's a camera involved or something like that. So it's like, they can make up anything they want, And had she not had all these text messages, Trevor Bauer would be still looked at like the asshole,
Well, I mean, it's been, you said 2 years.
2 years you've been fighting this,
He's been over in Japan. I mean,
how many millions of dollars has he lost?
Yeah. Unless Japan's paying him lots of yen.
Yeah.
That's their money, right? Yen? God, I hope it is, because otherwise I'm going to get emails. But
do your own research.
It's yen or something like that.
He's probably making pretty decent.
But he probably does all right. But it's interesting to me that Japan's like, oh, we'll take you. Like,
right.
We don't care what you did.
But again, we don't know behind the scenes.
Sure.
Does he do dumb shit behind the scenes that nobody's ever come out and publicly done like this one? So
yeah. So that's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up because it. We can talk about that further at another time because I just think that the overall topic is interesting. I mean, it is one of those he said, she said, people of power, in this case, pro athletes. I mean, you could talk about it. You could talk about it in politics. We could talk about it with any roles of power versus people that don't have the power and how the people with power get, and until recently, all of a sudden the Harvey Weinstein and all those guys coming out, that happening. Finally, these people in power that for 20 years were doing these things we're finally getting, caught, and it all. But again, like I said, some of them are going to be fake, and then
Well, and another thing is, when did men become the aggressive, violent of the two sexes? Because I'll tell you another.
Oh, you're getting the whole thing here.
Well, and I'll tell you another example is when I was going through my divorce, my lawyer, I had told my lawyer, I'll move out if I need to. I don't want to fight that battle. Hopefully this is kind of a show of good gesture let's finish this quickly. So when it came down to it, she's like, okay, are you ready to move out? And I was like, at the time, no. I hadn't looked for a place. I didn't know it was ready. She's like, well, she's coming back and you don't want to be there. You don't want to live under the same roof. And I was sitting there thinking, well, why? For the few months before she left to go down and work in a contract in Houston or whatever, I was living upstairs, she was living downstairs. You know, we had basically separate schedules, so we didn't see each other much anyways. But my lawyer even said that, you know, if she could come home, just have a bad day, happen to see you, get frustrated, she'd go punch herself in the face, call the cops, and the cops are going to come arrest you without even questioning.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
I don't have any proof to say I didn't, but, you know, it was that simple. So why is...
that knuckle mark doesn't match mine.
Right.
So...
I've never hit a woman in my life.
Well, of course.
But,
I wouldn't be friends with if you had.
You know? But it's crazy. When did we become the aggressive, violent, and...
We've always been known as the more... I mean, in the history of humanity, the men have been the violent, warriors. And, I mean, there have been a few female warriors. Xena.
Right. Pocahontas.
The warrior princess. Xena, the warrior princess. Pocahontas, she was a badass. No, I don't think she fought, did she?
She was just pretty.
I think she just hung out. Pocahontas, the warrior Pocahontas.
Right?
Well, there's Joan of Arc, and there's those chicks that...
There we go.
I'm not supposed to say that. Those women that are powerful, and there are plenty of them in history, but the majority, the Crusades wasn't led by a bunch of women. Wars. How many women fought in all of the wars?
Yeah,
it's been men are known for more violence, and they're genetically larger, stronger, faster. They just are. Except for this little girl on the soccer team that played my kid the other day. This girl was a ringer. She was no one could catch her.
She had a mustache.
She had a mustache. She had rocket jets on her. I mean, I don't think she. I think she could beat Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
Anyway, but so it's just this idea that women are not weak. They're delicate. That's what I always say. It gets me points. They're delicate.
Yeah.
They aren't meant to be aggressive and violent in these things, and so it's almost like ingrained into our minds that if a cop shows up at your house and the woman has marks, and say you even had some, you're still probably going to be what they think of first as the problem.
Right.
And that's why women do this to themselves. That's why your attorney told you. You never know. I mean, I know your ex-wife, and I don't. I mean, I'm sure
I would hope she wouldn't.
She would do some things to get you back, but not. I wouldn't think that she would do that.
Right.
And so you're going, this is weird, but you just have to. You never know in this world.
It's like if you kind of flip that scenario and hey, she beat me, and the cop's going to be like, well, what'd you do?
Right.
Or,
what'd you do to get? Yeah.
Or you go in and I was sexually assaulted by her.
Yeah.
Were you? So it's
I always wonder. I was like, what if the guy just literally sits there and takes it? Because I grew up, and I'm sure you did as well, because our mamas and dads, but mama raised us to. I mean, hitting a woman is the worst of the worst.
Right.
You do not do that. Slapping, maybe. No, I'm kidding. Joking. You never lay your hands on a woman in a violent way.
Right.
And that's the way I grew up. And so it's just so strange now that if I would sit there and take it.
Yeah.
If a woman that I was with, and I'll just use my wife, I mean, I don't think she would, but if she just started like hammering me with some sort of kitchen utensil, like an ice cream scoop or a fucking something.
A pan.
I would try and dodge it, of course, and I'd run away. But if she got me a couple times, I would take it.
Yeah.
And if the cops came and it looked at me and I said, yeah, she did this with the frying pan. I would. It's sad that they wouldn't. That at first, they immediately would probably be like, yeah, well,
what did you do?
What really happened here, and did you provoke it? I don't know though. I think I would say that I ran into something. I feel like such a pussy if I was like, my wife beat me up. Like, I don't know. Is it worth it to have that, or is it just you just take it and you're like, whatever?
Can you imagine like she hits you with a frying pan, you fall over, and she falls down trying to hit you again, gets a bruise, and next thing you know, you're arrested. What the fuck?
She misses and hits herself with a frying pan, and then they're like, see, sir, you've abused your wife. The whole thing's a mess, and it becomes about gender roles and the whole stereotypes of men and women, and women want to be equal, but not in this way.
Yeah.
And then men say that women are this, but not in this way. And it's just it's something let's readdress this. I think it'd be an interesting. I'd like to have a woman's perspective when we continue to talk about
absolutely.
this. Because you and I can sit here and make jokes and whatever, but I'd like to have I wonder what a woman would think about that.
Yeah.
And better yet, maybe we could find a woman who's actually beating the shit out of her husband. Do you know if Jess is beating the shit out of her husband, our former guest?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have to ask.
I don't know.
We'll ask her husband.
Yeah.
But we'll move on from that. But I would like to, at some point, talk about it because it's very interesting.
Right.
I know that a lot of you probably aren't football fans, but you know what?
What?
Trey and I are.
Is that
And
possible?
we're going to do some picks. We forgot last week with Timmy. I really wanted to get his picks based on uniforms. I really did. I wanted to ask him who he was choosing this week. He didn't even need to know the spreads, Trey. He doesn't need to know any of the details. Home or away, doesn't matter.
Best looking coach.
What
Yeah.
best looking coach, best mustache. What uniform combination would win last week? And I think he probably would have picked correctly.
You think?
But let's recap our first week of picks from what ended up being 2 weeks ago. Yes, I'd really like to recap who we chose and what happened. Do you have it there in front of you?
Well, I know mine. I picked the Commanders with 6.5 points.
The Washington Commanders.
Washington Commanders
in the NFL.
and the Buffalo Bills were playing each other, and they had 6.5 points. I thought it was
The
36
Bills,
and a half,
36 and a half.
but it was not. It was six
It
and
was
a
only
half.
6.
So I did not win that one.
Let's just say
It was a
Buffalo
beat down.
beat him down,
Yeah.
and it was not. Trey was the opposite of correct in his pick.
I needed more than 6.5 points to get close to that one. And you had Florida State -2.
I did. I had Florida State favored by 2 going on the road to Clemson, who normally is in this year. I just felt for some reason Florida State would get it done. Now, don't get me wrong; it ended up being overtime, but they ended up winning by 6 or 7.
There you go.
In overtime, and I got my win. So
Jerk.
Ryan is 1-0, and Trey is 0-1. I just had to go and say that.
I was probably 0-2 after that one.
You should get 2 losses based on that.
That was
it wasn't
bad.
even. It was like if you could have said what would be the worst pick this weekend, it was the way
It was that one.
you chose. All right,
It was absolutely that one.
quick. Let's roll to this week.
Okay.
You go first. What are you going to take this week?
Well, it's Texas OU weekend, so I think I'm going to pick on the Texas game. They're getting 6.5 points.
They're giving Trey 6.5. They are
6.5.
favored by 6.5 points.
6.5 points favored.
And for anybody that doesn't know, the Texas Longhorn Oklahoma Sooner is a rivalry game in Dallas. They meet at a neutral site.
Yes.
It's a big time rivalry at a neutral site here in Dallas, actually. And they call it the Red River Shootout. And it's
Actually,
kinda,
it's the Red River rivalry
whatever
now.
Red River.
Because we're not supposed to promote guns and shit.
Oh, I see. Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a whole other topic.
Can
we're
be a
gonna get to.
shootout,
That's
yeah.
so stupid.
Yeah.
I'm going to call it the shootout.
It's a Red River rivalry.
So they every year, and I tell you what, as a guy who hates both teams, like don't really care. I care because I like the game. There's been some strange games in this series, and so
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by it this year, especially. They're both undefeated, and they're both a top 10 or top 15, something good.
I know Texas top 5. I think Oklahoma's 11. I think.
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so this year Texas is now giving points. They are favored by 6.5, and you were going to go with
Texas.
You're gonna take your horns, huh?
Yep.
You don't think that's the kiss of death?
I'm going to take
No
the horns.
jinx, no.
I'm
You don't
going
believe
all
in it.
Damn it.
All right, 6.5. So they basically, when it's 6.5, they just have to win by that 7-point touchdown, extra point,
Gotcha.
which is so common.
So if they win by a touchdown. Okay.
all right, everybody, take his last pick went really well. So
Don't bet on this one.
jump on board with Trey. I think
With hesitation.
I think all of a sudden the Oklahoma money line just went way
Yeah.
for people. Well, considering this is not a live show, but you know what I'm saying. I'm going to go NFL this week, so we kind of traded off, and I'm gonna go very basic. It's the London game. It's the Buffalo Bills. They're only giving up 5.5 points to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Really?
I know it's a neutral site game, but Jacksonville has not. Come on. I know London claims Jacksonville is their home team. Did you know that? That's why they're playing 2 weeks in a row. But Buffalo is they're on all cylinders right now. Arguably the second best team in the AFC, the Miami Dolphins, just went up to Buffalo and got just smashed.
Got beat, yeah.
And I just feel like Buffalo 5.5 points seems very low.
So Buffalo is favored by 5.5?
Yeah, Buffalo is favored by 5.5 points.
Gotcha.
Just win
So
by
they have to
2
win by
field goals.
6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Win by 6.
And that's who you're taking?
Buffalo, absolutely.
Buffalo,
I'm going to
5.
give those 5.5 like it's nothing.
Gotcha.
I just think
Do you
Buffalo.
think that's going to be a beating?
I do. I think I think Jacksonville will score some points because I think one of Buffalo's big defenders is out and blah, 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 blah. And it's in London and it'll be exciting. But I think 6 points is pretty easy to win
Doable.
by. I think it'll probably be something. I mean, Buffalo's scoring like crazy. I think it's going to be something like 42-28 or something like that. And I think they cover.
That'll be a fun game then.
Yeah, I think they cover. So I'm going to go Buffalo.
Buffalo. So I got Texas 6.5. You've got Buffalo 5.5.
Yeah, both favored. We're taking 2 favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
The money down.
Put it down now, everybody.
But don't bitch at us.
But don't bitch, yeah. And we'll know since this will be released before.
Right.
So.
We hope so anyway.
Yeah. The last episode we did with our pilot took a little while, so I apologize for that. But it was such good content. I wanted to make sure we gave you the best. Real quick before we end, let's do
Awareness
of
self-awareness.
self-awareness. Did you have one, or is it just me tonight?
I had one, but it may not be as fun as yours, so I'm going to see what yours is.
Well, we don't want to end with the bad one.
We'll just roll yours out. We'll save mine for the next show.
Okay. This is another driving one. I think we could just do a whole show about bad drivers.
Yeah.
But this happened this last weekend. I was actually driving. My dad was driving, so my dad's a great driver for his age, but
For his age.
But overall, it's still he's heavy on the brake. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Heavy on the brake, and
mom's
you're always
very much
wondering
like
if
that.
he just happens to be if he's looking the other. What's he thinking about right now?
Right.
Is he looking the
Besides
other way?
my head going through that windshield.
Right. And so what's funny is that my stepmom, his wife, she would come on and talk just about how
She's not a fan of his
how
driving.
just how that brake foot. He's just. But we were headed to actually watch a football game. So as we approached the stadium, it was a win by my Texas A&M Aggies, by the way. And we're approaching the stadium, and it's where the Cowboys play. And so it gets a little crowded towards game time. And everybody exiting one highway to get onto another highway.
Okay.
So say you're going south, and you're going to go back west towards the stadium.
Gotcha.
And you exit on a ramp. Well, it's a single lane exit ramp.
Right.
So it's going to stack up on the right-hand side. Tell me how infuriated it makes you when you get in that line and you're waiting, and all of these cars go all the way up to the front, and they just jump right in.
Jump right in, yeah.
And people fucking let them do it.
Yes. Or they're not paying attention.
Or they're not paying attention. I mean, we sat in that line for 20 minutes, and people, we just saw them jump in.
Oh.
And I was, and my dad goes, I think I'm just going to go do that. I'm like, no. I was like, don't be that guy, because I will talk about you on our self-awareness segment. And so I just imagine that, though. If you see the line, it's there. I get it. Every once in a while, there may be somebody who kind of gets, all of a sudden. But don't go up to the front like that.
Yeah.
People have been waiting, and everybody's trying to get to the game, and you're going to go and cut off. My dad was funny. He goes, he just cut off 20 minutes of his commute just by cutting in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Asshole. And I was like, yeah, and but if everybody did that, don't do that.
Yeah.
And it happens a lot. There are some common places here in our city
Absolutely.
that back up that every day at rush hour. They kind of have that they need to change the exit lane.
Yeah.
And there's one close to downtown and whatever, and people know that, but they still go up there,
Yeah.
sit up there to put on their blinker. Well, then guess what happens? Now that whole lane is taken, and
Yeah.
everybody has to slam their brakes on that. And I think we talked about it the other way when they're trying to turn left, and it's the same thing. If you're stacked up over here and then you decide to stop and hit your blinker in the front of the line and wait, now it's down to one lane, and then people are then jumping into that left lane to try and avoid slamming into that car. It just go past it, reroute,
Come back around. Yeah.
come back, do your thing. You fucked up. Everybody's been waiting. Show some respect.
Yeah.
Is that a good? I mean, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's legit, right?
Yeah, because I've done it before where I've tried to get over last minute. I'm like, oh shit. And usually what I'll do is I'll drive very slowly to where I'm not stopped, put my blinker on, and just hopefully somebody will be nice and let me in, knowing that I fucked up. And then if I have to, I just keep going straight and then come back. So,
well, and the problem is that there are people in that situation that actually it is a mistake. And, oh, dang it, I missed it.
Very few and far between, though.
But there are people where it's like, there's a mission.
Like, fuck
it's
y'all,
a mission. You see
front.
exactly. They speed right up, and then it's like they know what to do.
Yeah.
And it's just, and then some people are like, whatever.
Yeah.
If everybody would just let everybody in, well, not in this case.
No.
Fuck them. I let people in other cases. I'm a very courteous driver. I think if we all work together, it would be a lot easier. But not in this situation. This one makes me mad.
And I'm sure y'all were early enough. It wasn't like the game was about to start. So
it wasn't. We wanted to get there. We wanted to get there because we were just about what we wanted to be.
Right.
But we didn't anticipate. It didn't show up on the map.
Yeah.
That this was going to be a big jam.
Yeah.
And
that's
it all worked out. I mean, we got there. It was fine. No worries. It was just like, it just reminded me of that. And so
you got there, you got the win.
Yeah, that made it better. On the way home, I was like, hey, jump on in.
Jump right in.
Especially, Arkansas.
We'll wait here another hour and a half.
You have a Arkansas sticker on your truck.
Jump
go on
right
in. Yeah, we'll be courteous. I'll take the win. You can go ahead and cut in front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a fun game. It's always fun when you have a neutral site and half. I mean, literally half and half. And
yeah.
They split you up for the most part, and
I bet that was a fun game though.
Yeah, it's fun. It's always they've done it at Cowboy Stadium for 13 years now or something like that. We're 12-1 against them in those 13 years. So,
really?
So
I think I was at the 1 too.
Oh yeah, you were at the 1, weren't you?
Don't tell your dad
that's
about
pretty
that.
funny. Yeah, don't. Yeah, you're not allowed to come back. But I think they're taking the game away because of realignment issues in college football and all that. But did you have one? Do you want to do one real quick? Are you gonna save it?
I think I'll save it.
Oh, are you sure? Because now our listeners, I always say listeners, our listeners / viewers.
So I like to drive, and so
you like to drive.
So when we're going to an event, we're going on a road trip, anything like that.
I'm the same way. I want to be the driver.
So, and I guess it's an assumption, and maybe I shouldn't assume shit. But if you have friends that come with you, okay, and you're driving your vehicle,
okay,
shouldn't the friends assume that they're going to be helping out for gas? They're going to be helping out for parking. They're going to be helping out for little stuff like that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So when you have those friends that you go on those road trips with, and you jump out and say, okay, I'm going to get gas. All right, I'm going to run in and grab some food, whatever. All right, you pump because I never asked.
Have I not paid you enough over the years?
I've never asked.
Driven?
Well, no,
I'm joking.
I've never asked for that. It's something that I assume. Okay, if you're going to throw it in, cool.
Yep.
If you're not, all right, or at least offer to pay for parking when you get there. Just something.
A gesture.
You get to parking and you look over.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they don't even act like they're going after the wallet, and then you pay for parking.
Yeah.
It's like
it's
really?
about the gesture. My dad, I won't talk about specifics, but my dad has a real problem because he's generous in a lot of ways when it comes to, inviting people to games, and he's got a lot of connections, and so we some suites and things like that, and that's his mindset.
Right.
Is I'm bringing you to these events, and
pay for his beer all night.
Yeah, I've witnessed it, both sides of it with him. I've seen people that just assume that he's just going to do it all. And even though it doesn't hurt him at all, he's
the gesture.
It's not the point.
Yeah, at least show gesture. Even if he says no, it's okay.
Yeah,
at least go for the wallet.
And it just shows the maturity. It shows the type of person you are, even if it's just the smallest of gestures. I mean, there are times when I can't make a large gesture, but anything.
Yeah.
But I'm that way. I mean, for me, it's not even the gas thing. If I say I'll drive, guys, okay, fine, that's on my gas. But if we go somewhere and there's a parking, I mean, I can't tell you how many times people are fighting to give me the parking.
Right.
And it's like and then oftentimes I go, I got it.
Right.
But if they don't do it, I'm just like, motherfuckers, why aren't you getting out of it? So it's just about, again, it's this common kind of, you are willing to spend your money, drive your car. Let's take care of you. It's about self-awareness, Trey.
Like even back in the day, we used to go to the strip clubs way too many times, and friends of mine. And
I only went a few times, so I'm just gonna verify that.
And what was cool is, I don't drink, but we'd come in and one person's like, "Hey, I got the first round. Hey, I got the next round."
Yeah.
And then I would be like, "You know what? I don't drink, but hey, I've got this round." And I jumped in and bought rounds for everybody too. Yeah. There was the one guy that we always kept going, and he never jumped in.
I wonder if I know who it is.
Oh, you know who he is.
I'm sure I do. But it's just something that, again, it's just, I get it. If you haven't learned yet, you're 19, and it's just kind of, you know what I mean? But as you grow.
But as you see everybody else doing it, you just automatically jump in and do it. And it's not like he didn't have the money.
Okay. And that plays into it too.
That does play into it.
That can get awkward.
So, but it's not like he doesn't have the money, and it's not. Right. It's and it was like 4 of us, so it's not like you're buying beers for 10 people. Especially at a strip club at like $10 a piece.
Yeah.
So
if you had 8 people drinking single malt scotch,
then it adds up pretty quick
at $22 a pop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then sure, but $2.99 Coors Lights.
Even if that, like $1.50 maybe,
$1.50 Lone
Natty Lights,
with 4 of you.
So yeah,
it's an $8 tab, and he's like, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Right. But yeah, same thing is like a lot of times I'm like, you know what, don't worry about it, Yeah. But you go on a long trip and they don't offer to pay for gas. It's like, even say, hey, let me get this. And so yeah.
Well, real fast, and then we definitely need to wrap it up. But on this topic, you and I have been on. We've been on a couple different trips together, and we went on one not too long ago, and it was a really fun trip, and we went on it it was like 8 of us, something like that, and it was something where I chose to spend maybe a little more on it than I would expect other people to spend, because it was. It was about me, if that makes any sense. It was a pre-wedding party, if you will, and
not to mention we were all turning 40.
Yeah, we were all turning 40, but it was kind of I had 2 bachelor parties, and on this one I said, you know what, this is a special trip. This isn't just like a random weekend, so let's go for we'll stay here instead of here.
Yeah.
And it wasn't whatever, but it was just the gesture, knowing that everybody else was like, whoa, that's not something I want to do. People appreciated it.
Yeah.
And throughout the weekend, here and there, if you grab me a $6 a pint of beer somewhere when we're out during lunch or whatever, there was, I don't think one person didn't do that for the whole weekend, and that's all it's about. Did it equal up at all? No. That would take a lot, but it equaled up in my heart.
Wrap this show up. You've drank too much tonight.
Tonight I actually haven't, and that's what's so funny about it.
Wraps up in my heart.
It wrapped up in my heart, and on that note, we'll move on.
Wrap this show up.
As usual, guys. Subscribe to everything. YouTube and Spotify and X. It's so weird to call it X, but Twitter. Those are the places you can watch this thing. But listen wherever. I mean, it's all over the place. But subscribe. Hit that button.
Yep.
It's 2 seconds. And it will also notify you when the next episode is out.
Absolutely.
And it makes it easier. So do that. We have so much merch. It's not that we haven't given it to anybody. We just have a lot of merch.
Yeah.
So let us know if you want some of that. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And we have some guests coming up in the next couple of shows. So we're excited about that as well. So I look forward to that.
Sounds good.
Sounds good?
Later, everybody.
All right. Love you guys. I'll admit that fuck up on the air. You thought we were doing a whole new show.
I was like, wait a minute, we're starting right over?
Yeah, I fucked up. Bye, everybody.
Later.
You don't have a witty comment, Trey?
No.
Okay. You're fired.